I'm always late. I have trouble judging how long it's going to take to get anywhere, how long it's going to take to get myself ready. I used to just tell people 20 minutes whenever they asked how long something was going to take. 20 minutes. It's not too short. It's not too long. Just nebulous enough to be plausible for a variety of situations. How long is it going to take me to get ready for a party? 20 minutes. How long will it take to get there? 20 minutes. How long until this episode is ready to post? 20 minutes. Yeah. My producer, Thal, is already seeing through that one. Did not take long. I'm trying to break myself of this habit. I double the time I think it's going to take anywhere. I triple how long I think a project is going to take. I think about my tie, shirt, and pants combo while I'm in the shower, so I'm not just staring at my closet blankly once I get out. But sometimes, despite the best intentions, I am still late. So when I finally arrived at the support group I'm covering this episode, they were already in the middle of their group affirmation.
Except times I cannot change. My life is here, in this moment, no matter when it was before. I live my life as present, and I accept that difficulty. What I considered my mission may be delayed or halted. I mourn for the loss of one path, while I choose another to walk. It is not the path that defines me, but my choices. The affirmation is very important. Many of our members are scientists, soldiers, wizards, people used to feeling very powerful.
Suzu Williams is the founder of Pause, a support group for stranded time travelers.
What we try to do here at Pause is acknowledge that they are living in a difficult time. But just because they're stuck here doesn't mean they're powerless. It's important to remind people of the power they possess in their own lives. It's not the same as being able to break the laws of time and space, but it's power just the same. And that power is what allows them to have a place in the here and now. The past is what we choose to remember. The future is what we make of it. No matter when I was going, here is when I am supposed to be.
This is Jared Axelrod, and you are listening to the voice of Free Planet X. One of the things you notice about Pause is that most of the members look, well, normal. It looks like any other support group gathered in a church basement. There's uncomfortable folding chairs, stale pastries, bad coffee. People share the difficulties of their daily lives. Modern technology is a common complaint, either being too magical or too primitive to deal with. And the small victories that allow them to keep going. Just like any other support group.
One thing that's important to remember is that throughout time, there are things that are constant. Sometimes latching onto a familiar turn of phrase or a simple act of kindness can turn an outsider into someone who has a place.
That's a phrase you say a lot, have a place.
Well, I think it's what we're all searching for. Time is like an ocean. You can be swept away by it and end up on shore nothing like what you came from. So, what do? You adapt. You do as those around you do. You find your place.
I guess I just thought the collection of time travelers would look more eccentric. Not a handful of people in jeans and t-shirts trying to move forward with their lives. Okay, there was this one guy who referred to himself as John Smith. He was the very definition of eccentric.
I prefer not to use the term stranded time traveler. I am merely on an extended vacation, against my will. took a left turn at one century in Albuquerque. It's so difficult to figure out. The most likely word you'll have for this, and like so many bits of language concerned with time travel, there's an inherent metafictional pejorative. So I'm just going to embrace this one and say there will be spoilers.
No matter when it was before.
You have a golden age approaching, and it's much like waiting for cookies.
What I considered my mission may be
in
delayed or halted.
It approaches for a terribly long time. You have around a 2 to 3 picosecond window, and then you just have a tremendous amount of burnt sugar and regret.
But my choices.
And I was aiming for your golden age and bounced off slightly, significantly. So I'm in the neighborhood, but I'm not on a bus route. Think of it that way. To be quite honest with you, I mean, there are days, weeks, several months where it's been tremendously difficult because, obviously, everything moves at a very, very different speed and everything moves in a linear fashion, which is tremendously annoying. But there are certain peak benefits, certain perks to living in your time. You have tremendous coffee. In my time, we have a vaccine for that, so I'm really enjoying it whilst it's here. You have wonderful food. There's weather, you know, and given where I am and where I come from, there's substantially better weather than there was before. So it's difficult, but I'm making the best of it. And if I can get the machine repaired, obviously I'll hop along. But if not, I'm very active on social media. LinkedIn, it's weirdly tranquil. But as well as that, yes, I am on Twitter quite actively. Hashtag stuck here. I've attempted to use Facebook, but I have a dreadful confession about, I believe it's good, you call it Goodreads? Yes, that's not a website. It's going to take you a few years to work out what that is, but how can I describe this? You know those very small fish that kind of sucker onto the bottom of sharks and hitch a free ride whilst gradually leeching their will to live? Imagine one of those, but so much worse, and about books. And that's Goodreads. You'll come to that. There'll be all kinds of stuff with feral HTML code. That gets dreadfully messy. But the second GIF war is over very, very fast, so you'll be fine. I'm tremendously successful as an extra. Because I have a certain look, and that look says the camera should not be on this man, but he should be in shot. So I've been in the background of a tremendous amount of things. I've also recently got a little bit of work at a fun fair, which was tremendously entertaining, and I'm training to be a barista. Oh, and I'm writing a book. The book is a cookbook primarily, mostly involving recipes you can't quite make yet, but I have a sneaking suspicion I may have already written it. So to be honest, I'm really just closing a causal loop, just in case. A friend of mine in the far future once perfectly described a classic old film, Signs, the Mel Gibson thing with the dreadful CGI and the concealed bigotry. You know, that wasn't in the film, that came later. He perfectly summed that up for me when he said, this is a film about how dreadful it is to be in a 1950s B-movie, but not be the hero. To have the film happening just to the left. And that's rather what this feels like. There will be tremendously important events in history, huge, epic, epochal changes coming down the line. And I may be involved in some of them, but what's rather more likely is I'll get to spectate and maybe help out a little bit from time to time. So, as I say, it's tremendously frustrating, a lot of the time, but at the same time, it feels a little bit like a holiday. Just a slightly non-consensual one.
What is most surprising to me is how little things have improved. Certainly there's strawberries in the winter and everyone has a little pond in their homes to shit in, but where's the real progress?
Marlacal the Magnificent is a sorcerer from around 1100 AD. She came 1,000 years into the future with the hopes of finding a weapon to defeat a monarch she describes as Mad King Earthrail. I did a lot of research into medieval history for this. but I could find no record of a King Earthrail, mad or otherwise.
We should have gotten rid of the measles by now, at least. You've just kind of improved how bad things can get in some ways by having so many people in various confined spaces, and even the wilderness, when you try and go out and get away, there's not as many places you can even like get away from people. And so you have all of those people in confined spaces, and these plagues just happen and they expand, and people go put their dicks in things and spread more stuff around. Women do certain work and they don't get compensated the same, and you know, men still can't have babies. I can kind of understand that. But you know, you have the women have to carry the babies, and then they don't even get time off of work. What's up with that? I mean, come on. There are places, we knew in our time that, you know, a woman had a baby, you didn't make her go back into the fields and pick more crops the next day. At least gave her some time to accommodate the baby, and then you let her carry it around with her for a while, you know? Generally, there just seemed to be less waste in the streets in some ways. People don't tend to just throw their garbage out the door, but when they do throw their garbage out the door, it doesn't seem to go away. Ours, at least, like a rat would come and eat it or take it away, and then these plastic things around, and these cigarette butts that just kind of sit there in the street for a couple hundred years, thousands of years, and they don't go away. Maybe you just hide it all better.
Is primitive this 21st century. Barely worth living here. Have to touch computers? Madness. It's madness. In addition, is little television worth watching?
Dragomir Zarkov comes from a future where interstellar travel is commonplace. After stepping on new worlds, to be stuck on one where space travel is so limited has been frustrating, to say the least.
I don't like to think of this, but I was finally getting my vacation. I've been saving up for a month for this vacation. I was finally going to see Earth. I've never been to Earth. I mean, I was born off in Kepler 16. I work for SMARC, which is the Skarara Mining and Refining Commission. I was actually in the shipping section. I transported ore from the refinery and then onto the shippers. I was nothing special. And I was taking my ship. I just delivered a big shipment of blue gold. And I'm taking my ship and I'm going to Earth. And I'm visiting, and I didn't realize that apparently Russia is always at war. And this is on through history. It's always at war. And I get to Russia and I'm visiting and I'm enjoying some nice borscht. And I get caught up in this skirmish. And the rebels had a new time weapon that nobody had realized they developed. And I just got caught in the crossfire, and next thing I know, 21st century. But borscht is the same. I guess if I could go back and do it all again, I would have taken a vacation somewhere else. I didn't want to come to the 21st century. I just wanted to see Earth, and now I'm seeing a completely different Earth than I wanted to see. The technology to actually get out as far as I am from, you won't have that technology for another 125 years. So I know I'm stuck here, but I'm doing everything I can, and I'm trying to get in with the Russian Space Administration, but I'm not very good at science. I do have to say that there is a lot more humor now. Things seem to be funnier in the past. And things are so serious because everything is run by computers. And they still have yet to come up with a decent AI sense of humor. There's no good what is the word? When you say something but you don't really mean what you say, you mean the opposite of what you say. Sarcasm. when you say that there's no good AI sarcasm, so everything is just cut and dry. It's dumb. But you come back here and you get fart jokes. It's been so far that maybe the little things I could do really don't have that butterfly effect thing. So I don't worry. I just try to get through the day. I can't exactly go back to the future. There's no time traveling technology right now, so I'm stuck here. I'm going to make now best, and you know what? Whatever future it is, if it means that in the future I don't end up coming back, I guess I just won't wake up one morning. It'll be alright.
Not everyone has come from so far away. Denise, for example, was a college student in 1993 when she was shunted forward in time. 22 years may not seem like much compared to some of the others here, but it still carries some future shock, as Denise learned when a fellow student tried to get some help for her.
When he found me, he pulled out this like little glowing flat thing from his pocket and he started talking to it. And that's how he called an ambulance. And I like totally didn't know what he was doing. What was he talking to? This little metal thing. And that's a cell phone. I mean, I had a cell phone, but that thing was like practically a brick compared to what he had. I couldn't have fit it in a pocket. First thing I did was try to find out what happened to my stupid roommate, Amy. You know, the one whose experiment sent me here. It killed her. I found my family. They thought that the accident killed me too. See, Amy was like totally vaporized. So they didn't know if it was me dead or me gone. So they'd had a funeral and they'd moved on. So then when I come back, they didn't know what to do with me. I mean, it was like a ghost, you know? It kind of freaked him out, actually. It was really funny because my little brother, he like totally had a conniption fit and was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And he started making fun of the way I used to talk. I have nieces and nephews that didn't even know who I was. And my dad died, and that kind of sucks because I liked my dad, and I don't know if it's better to come back at a time when I still have family, or if it would be better if they were all gone and I could just move on with my life, you know, because I feel like I have to keep being the same person that I always was, and I can't have a fresh start, you know? It's all little adjustments, but still it's almost like nothing's familiar, and coming here, everybody gets that, you know? This is one place where I feel like I actually do fit in, you know? I mean, I stand out, but I do everywhere.
You know, it can be kind of hard to let go of the past, honestly. Especially if there's a possibility of it appearing on the horizon.
Oh, you're a time traveler yourself.
Yeah. I come from the future. Well, a possible future. Not necessarily the future. Our future isn't set in... Look, I actually really don't like talking about it.
I see. You're afraid of a predestination paradox. That telling me something will set me thinking about it in a way I never would have before, and thereby creating events without naturally occurring origins?
No, it's nothing like that. It's just that it's not a good place where I come from. Leading this group, I've heard my share of dark future scenarios, and all of them earn that term. Every single one. But my past, your possible future, it's nowhere anyone wants to be. Earth's a charred husk. War is constant. I'm not even sure anyone remembers who the enemy is, only that they're relentless. I watch my friends give up their lives so that a vast machine I never even understood could send me back as a last-ditch effort to stop the war before it started.
I'm so sorry.
It was only ever supposed to be a one-way trip. Even if they survived, I was never going to see them again. They won't be born for another 200 years or so. Something like that.
So I'm assuming you succeeded.
Honestly, I'm not sure sometimes. I always thought that if I succeeded, I would cease to exist. My life, the years of battle and struggle, the horrible things I've had to do, they wouldn't have happened. I used to wonder about it. Would I just slowly fade out of existence? Or maybe even disappear completely? Would I even be aware of it at all? If I did my job, the events I set in motion 6 years ago when I arrived should keep me from ever being born. And yet, here I am.
But that doesn't mean you failed, does it?
Honestly, I wish I could tell you. I used to keep looking at the news to see if there's any inkling or hint that the future I came from will come to pass. There's an easy way to drive yourself crazy, though. Imagine that, trying to foretell the creation of the atom bomb by carefully watching the development of flintlock technology. The way I see it, there's 3 possibilities. 1, I fell. On the bright side, I'll die long before the war starts, so there's that. 2, I've created an alternate timeline. In that timeline, I'll never be born. So at least I'll have succeeded in creating one better future.
And the third?
Well, the third is that I've succeeded. And that this world with pizza delivery, living trees, comfortable footwear, well, this is my reward. I saved the future, which means I get to be frustrated in lines. I get to pay heating bills. I get to lose that connection in a phone call to a friend. I get to actually live my life.
And how's that working out?
Oh God, it's terrifying.
And I won't lie to you, when I first arrived here, I had some very dark moments. There is no guilt, except possibly for that moment where you throw the bucket of water at your car to finish washing it, and you realize the window is down. Quite like realizing that you have royally cocked up time travel. And from this group, the most important thing I get is simply that it's not just me. This is a huge, complex, difficult universe, one filled with wonder and beauty and horror, and magnificently, triumphantly average people who really screw up from time to time. And I'm one of them. I am an idiot with the remains of a time machine, and so are my friends. And it is a tremendous reassurance to know, firstly, that I am no longer alone, and secondly, that if any one of us tries something quite as stupid again, the rest of us will be there. And thirdly, eventually one of us will get it right, and then I'm owed a lift.
The voice of Free Planet X is written and produced by Jared Axelrod. This episode featured music by bensound.com. The voice of Free Planet X theme is by Russell Collins. This episode could not have existed without the performances of
Rashida Phillips,
Alistair Stewart,
Laura Burns,
A.F. Grappin,
Aaron Kazmark,
and the support of listeners like you. You can support the voice of Free Planet X at patreon.com/Axelrod. If you liked the last episode, One Precious Thing, you may be interested in the shirt of the month for September. It's the company logo of Emergent Systems, who accidentally created one, and it is quite snazzy if I do say so myself. There's a link to purchase it on the Voice of Free Planet X website, planetx.libsyn.com. You should check it out. And if you want to dress like a postmodern Prometheus, be sure to get it before October 1st. The Voice of Free Planet X is distributed by Galactic Public Radio.
GPR.
GPR.
Galactic Public Radio.
Thank you for listening.